Oh, hi everyone, and welcome into Behind the Helm. If you want to watch this show live, tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and we'll respond live. As always, find it, like it, share it, follow it. But if you want to watch the show after the fact, head on over to YouTube or on Facebook, where the shows are cataloged, and you can see all the comments and notes and still watch the show and any bonus content. If you just want to listen to the show, head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, wherever you can find a podcast, and just search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show.
I said I'd never join.
Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman track storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter.
Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown.
Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
Episode 73. Welcome into Behind the Helm, #1 military podcast in all of Indiana. Thanks again for whoever put that together. I really appreciate it. As you can see, we got a little bit of a new setup. I went ahead and moved the studio, although I do really like the studio that myself and Petty Officer Levesque put together. The internet was becoming too much of a problem, so get used to this because it's what you're going to see. All right, so if this is your first time here, it doesn't look any different to you until you go back and watch the older episodes. And thank you for being here. If this is your 73rd time here, hey, you're awesome. And I will tell you, we're approaching the 800 followers mark, which is great. My goal before the end of the year was 1,000. I don't think we're going to quite get there, but I want to say how much I appreciate every person out there who has found it, liked it, shared it, and most of all, followed it. So make sure you go down, you smash that like button down below. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that little bell. You get that notification so that way every time we're live, you can see us. And right now I'm trying to pull something up because you guys are going to be hearing YouTube that is still playing in the background. Sorry about that.
Water proficiency is a core skill set of every...
All right, anyway, so yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much. Just like I said, smash that like button, hit follow, hit that bell, get the subscribe, make yourself just a little bell sound. Maybe like that. That's a ship's bell, but that's all right. And if you are following, I have one thing to say to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for being that follower. So, hey, I want to say happy holidays to everyone, whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever your holiday is, it's the holiday time. And from my family to yours, happy holidays. We're going to be doing a Q&A today. I've reached out to some people in the recruiting nation asking for questions that they generally see, and we've had a few other ones that have came in as well that we're going to look at and go over, as well as some great bonus content. We're going to be doing a little Christmas movie tier list to get ready for the holiday. Christmas is this Sunday. Hopefully you're ready. I don't think anybody ever really is, but it's coming anyway. So next week I'll actually be on leave. However, the show must go on, so we will be live next Thursday at 4 p.m. Tune in. There's going to be a really special guest that I don't know if anybody knows, but it's going to be pretty cool. So let's go ahead. Let's get into Q&A, and I want to shout out to Recruiting Nation, Navy Recruiting, for the people who sent in some of their questions that they've seen and from where, and then we're going to pull up a couple other ones as well. So without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. Shots fired. All right, so let's see. Let me get these pulled up. All right, so before we get into the Recruiting Nation ones, I want to say to everybody who is really anywhere, but mainly Midwest, if you are tracking the storm and if you are concerned, make sure you're being safe out there. I know right now in the Anderson-Muncie area, it's been raining. It's kind of misting, raining for the last multiple hours. It's not below freezing yet, so we haven't got the snow, but the concern would be is that as the temperature drops, all of that rain and mist is going to turn to ice. There's probably going to be a lot of black ice on the road, so please be very careful if you are out traveling, and it's supposed to only get worse. So make sure you're checking that radar, watching what you're doing. To my future sailors out there, I already put it out to you guys. Be safe. Do not hesitate to call if something happens. We want the best for everyone. So that comes from myself. I know that comes from my command, INTAG Heartland up in Detroit. We've been watching everything and making sure that all of our sailors are safe, and we want to make sure that you're safe out there too. So be careful out there. What a perfect time if you get snowed in to just sit and watch some episodes of Behind the Helm. Why not, right? Go back and watch some of the old episodes. So again, just stay safe out there. So let's get into some of these questions. Let's see. The first one came from Jim in, looks like Goshen, Indiana, and it's about boot camp. There's different parts of it. There's about, it looks like 4 or 5 parts. It says, when will basic training begin? Once you join, how long is it? Where is it? What should I bring? And what are the appearance standards? It's a pretty loaded question, Jim, but I got you. So when will basic training begin? Well, that all depends. And I just want to say, I'm looking over here and Mr. Dunnick is out there. He said, happy holidays, Chief. Happy to be back in Muncie for Christmas. I did hear that you were going to be in the area. Petty Officer Levesque was on last week and said that he had ran into you at your schoolhouse. And then, of course, the infamous Petty Officer Jake Fields saying happy holidays, Chief. Happy holidays to you guys. Mr. Dunnick being here in the Muncie area, be careful, be safe. Fields, I cannot remember if you are already out there in San Diego. If you are, well, just enjoy the weather. I don't know what else to tell you. All right. So let's get it. I'm using Slattery's coaster that she made, by the way. Thank you, Petty Officer Slattery. You can see we have some stuff going on. Oh, I forgot. Since we got the Eagle back, before we get to this question, we got to do an homage to the Eagle, right? So again, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. But I do have a homage for the Eagle today. You can see we have everything that we've collected over time. And today is something kind of cool. If you're a little bit older, and the younger generation too, maybe grew up with G.I. Joe, we have a G.I. Joe still in the blister pack here for the show. Check this out. I know you're not going to really be able to read it too well, but it's G.I. Joe Sailor, Navy serviceman. And for anybody who's curious what the uniform is he's wearing, I never got to wear these, but he's wearing utilities. But he does still have the white Dixie cup. So I want to read this for you right off the bat because it has, for anybody who remembers G.I. Joe, you always had the little, their card. G.I. Joe Sailor, Navy serviceman, primary specialty, damage control, security team, secondary specialty, maintenance and repair. G.I. Joe Sailors are a top-notch part of the G.I. Joe team. They're the backbone of any mission, slamming Cobra forces with solid muscle and overwhelming firepower. To be a part of this naval force, each sailor studies how Cobra fights so he can anticipate and counteract the enemy's moves. Providing essential ground and sea support, G.I. Joe Sailors help ensure a mission success with their superior skill and furious determination to win. The G.I. Joe Naval Force serves with honor and courage. We are always ready to fight and protect. They forgot commitment. That's all right. You're over in Alexandria. And then I see Kim Hudson out there. Happy holidays, Chief. Caden surprised you on Tuesday. He didn't tell you he was coming home, huh? Well, geez. So we're going to end up putting this up over there, but that was the homage to the Eagle. So, all right, well, make sure you tell Caden I said hi. I'm glad that you're here. And Fields, I see you're in Alexandria. I know you have family over there. So, again, for you, be safe as well. Everybody's talking about it. Could be a rough one. Who knows? We've heard this before where the weather's coming in and then it doesn't and then it does. It's going to play havoc on football this weekend. We have NFL games on Saturday and on Christmas Day. There's one tonight. And me being a Chicago Bears fan, they're saying it's probably going to be the coldest game in NFL recorded history with the wind chill. So I guess we'll see what happens. But let's get into these questions. So back to Jim's question. When will basic training begin? How long is it? Where is it? What should I bring? And what are the appearance standards? Well, Jim, when it begins all depends on you. So right now for high school seniors, if you're joining, you're going to go in the delayed entry program where you're going to be working with your recruiter. You're going to be waiting for a while before you go. Most high school seniors right now are shipping in June or July, and there may or may not be a bonus right now for that, specifically for high school seniors. Sorry for those that are already graduated. But normally you go June or July, and anybody else, if you're already out of high school and you join, it depends on the job that you choose when its ship date is. It could be, I had somebody shipped in only a couple weeks, which isn't really common. A lot of times you see a month, but myself, I was in the delayed entry program for 8 months and I was 26 years old. So it really just depends. But as soon as you have that ship date, the night that you get there, the day you ship out, you get there that evening, it starts right then. And where is that you're going? Well, for us, for the Navy, that is all boot camp is in Great Lakes, Illinois, which is north of Chicago. If you've ever heard of Gurnee, it's up near Gurnee. So it's north of Chicago in Illinois. That is the only boot camp we have. They used to have Orlando and San Diego and Great Lakes. It's all in Great Lakes now. So you can definitely check that out. As far as how long is it? It has recently increased to 10 weeks. They added resiliency training into it, how to manage stress, living on a ship, all kinds of different things, like just some extra life skills that they're like life Navy skills that they added into boot camp. So it's a good thing. And from those that I've talked to have done it, said that it's helpful. So it's 10 weeks long. What should you bring? Hopefully you have a good recruiter. Anybody who's in my depth pool, when they're about 7 days out, I go over a short list of things that you can bring. They're completely optional. The only thing that you have to bring is yourself, the clothes on your back, your ID and social, and that's really it. Like, you don't have to bring anything else. But there are optional items you can bring. You can bring a religious text. You can bring an address book. You should bring extra stamps if you can. You don't even need to bring like paper or pens or anything. Like, you get all that there. You don't have to bring any toiletries, like, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, razor, anything like that. That's all issued to you. Phone card. There's some optional things, but I mean, the list is small. It's small. We're talking maybe about a list of like 10 optional items that you can bring, but you literally don't have to bring anything. Everything you need will actually be issued to you in that first day. All right. So, you don't have to go out and buy anything if you don't have to, but what I like to do is sit down and go over some things that are helpful. And I think it was a while back we did an interview with a future sailor who's getting ready to leave, and we did the 7-day, out recertification where we kind of went over what to bring. So I didn't read this question before, go back and find that, but the list isn't very long. You really don't have to bring anything though. And then as far as what are the appearance standards, I'm not sure if you mean when showing up. I'm assuming that that's what you're talking about. So for us, when you do have to go back through MEPS to process through. With MEPS, you can wear shorts if you want, or pants. The pants cannot have holes or tears or frays in them. You have to have on socks, underwear, closed-toed shoes, and a shirt with sleeves on it. I don't mean that it has to be a long sleeve shirt, but like a t-shirt. Okay, you can't have a cutoff or a tank top. And then right now, like if you were shipping to boot camp, obviously it's cold, so you want to be, dressed for the cold. Now, I will tell you that when you go, that you need to, think about that. But you're also going to be traveling, you're going to be flying. So dress comfortably. Most of the time when somebody goes down to join, they try to dress, kind of professional, maybe slacks or nice jeans. But you can go in sweatpants. Yoga pants are a no-go right now. But comfortable, like sweatpants, Adidas sweatpants, as long as they're not ripped or torn, like you are going to be traveling, because right after you get there, you're going to be issued stuff to change into. So you don't have to cut your hair prior to going or shave prior to going. I mean, I would suggest it mainly because as a male, females, you do not have to cut your hair. They will actually teach you how to wear your hair properly. They don't cut it anymore. You used to cut it off like right at your jawline. Males, they are going to shave your head, and you have to shave every day. So if you're getting ready for boot camp, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and start shaving, because you don't want to have like a real scraggly beard and then the first time shaving be there where you're going to have really irritated skin, stuff like that. You should get used to it, right? So that would be my suggestion. You don't have to cut your hair prior to, they'll cut it there. So appearance wise, like I said, that's pretty much it. If you have any piercings, males, like even earrings, you cannot wear earrings. You're not supposed to wear them to MEP, so you can't have those in. No other piercings, wherever they may be, they cannot be in. All right. So appearance wise, that's pretty much it as far as appearance standards for getting there. Okay. And again, Great Lakes. So, whoa. Man, it's going to mess with the camera. I forgot that I got to put something in front of that sensor because the light's going to pop on and off. So sorry about that and bright you out. But hopefully that answers your questions, Jim. Feel free to write back in if you have any other questions about that. So on to the next one. So again, you're on Behind the Helm, episode 73. We're doing some Q&A before the holidays. And the next question actually comes from a recruiter. And this is a question that comes from Fayetteville, North Carolina, from Stephanie. And it says, do you have to know how to swim in the Navy? It's a good question. And believe it or not, it's not necessarily a question that I get, but sometimes on surveys I get it. Somebody will mark no and say, well, I can't swim. Believe it or not, I had I think two or three people in my own boot camp division who did not know how to swim. And I don't mean like, oh, they could, doggy paddle, like whatever. I mean, like if you push them into the deep end, they would have drowned. So they ask you these things when you're there, and they teach you how to swim. So you have a day at the pool, you go to the pool, and you can actually see this online. There's a video where you can watch what they do, and you go up. It's like a 10-foot platform, not a diving board, just a platform, and you step off. They teach you how to step off properly, hit the water. You have to come up, and then you just have to swim to the side and then back to the other side in any form. It doesn't have to be like perfect freestyle. And then you have to kind of what we call dead man float, like face down float in the water so that you're relaxed. Now, this is all in the deep end, so you're not touching the bottom. And there's a person at the top of the tower, but there's also 3 to 4 rescue swimmers. Like they're not like lifeguards on the side, like they're in the water right there. Like there's nothing that's going to happen to you, but they ask you prior to, if you don't know how to swim, they will take you in the shallow end and they'll teach you how. It may not be in just that one day. So one of the guys that was in our boot camp division, it took him a while. So he would go back to the pool like every day, every other day, and get more training until he was able to pass that. So if you don't know how to swim, they will teach you. It's basic survival. And like, do you have to swim in the Navy? Like, no, you don't. Even if you're on a ship, like obviously my ship had, and a lot of people have talked about like swim calls in the middle of the Atlantic or in the Pacific, and you get the opportunity to jump off the ship and swim, but you don't have to, right? And as far as like, what about survival? Like that's what they're teaching you, but then they're also teaching you like how to use the K-POX or the flotation devices and how that all works. And I didn't get to do it. They added it into boot camp later on, but now they actually deploy a Mark 25, which is like the big, wow, I can't even think of the words I'm trying to think of, like the rescue boat, right? And you get to wear the K-POC and they show you how to tie onto each other. And everybody I've talked to said it's actually a really fun evolution. So that's cool. Mr. Dunnick said, my drill instructor called them iron ducks. So what did he call iron ducks? Was it the people who couldn't swim, like iron ducks because they sink? That'd be funny. So, yeah, hopefully that answers that question, Stephanie. And for anybody else out there who was concerned, like, well, I can't join the Navy because I can't swim. You're wrong. We will teach you how to swim. You don't have to know how to swim. I mean, if you learn prior to, great, but it's not required. It is absolutely not required. So, on to the next question. The next question we have, this one comes from, and I had to ask how to pronounce this. This is Washington State, and it is spelled Puyallup, Washington. And I had asked because to me, I guess I would pronounce that Puyallup. And I was told they're still trying to figure out exactly how, but they have been told it's Puyallup. So Puyallup, Washington. And this comes from James. How is the Navy? Now this one gets pretty deep, and I really want to talk about this one. How is the Navy different in handling sexual assault, and how does the Navy handle mental health? Woo, that's a loaded one. And before we get into that, Mr. Dunnick said we had a few people who couldn't swim, and they were allowed to skip PT to go swim, and that's what they would have called iron ducks. So before we get into that question, I wanted to say, yes, we're coming into the holidays, and we're already hearing from some people who are back home seeing their family, but there are some sailors and service members out there that either don't have family to come home to or just aren't able to come home. So, make sure you keep them in mind, whether they're your family or not, whether it's just some friends of yours that you know from a prior commit. Make sure you reach out and text someone, right? And tell them you're thinking of them and wish them a happy holidays and let them know that somebody is there. Statistically speaking, not military, but in general, right? General populace, holiday time, there's always a spike in unfortunately, in suicide and stuff like that. So, I want everybody to make sure that they're looking out for each other, especially sailors, looking out for other service members, no matter what branch they're in. So, the holiday time is a happy time. We always try to think about it, about being happy, but, make sure you reach out to somebody. And, if you're one of those people that you're having a rough time about it, reach out to someone. Don't suffer alone. Don't suffer in silence. All right. Like, there are people there for you. And, to answer the question about the mental health portion of things, look, if you're a service member, there are so many avenues for you that you can use. One of them doesn't even have necessarily anything to do with it's military, but it's not through the military. It's Military One Source. And anybody out there can look this up. Okay, you can go to Military One Source, you can search it, you can see the different things that are offered, but it's offered for service members. And it isn't just for, if you're feeling depressed or anything like that, but you can get free counseling, and it is not through a military doctor or anything. It is out in town. It's from a civilian. My wife and myself, prior to getting married, we used it and got marriage counseling, like premarital counseling. Nothing was wrong. It was free counseling. So why not? Like, why wouldn't we do it and, work on our communication or whatever, maybe have somebody else notice things. And I will tell you that it helped a lot. And we actually had 2 different counselors. The first one, we went to a couple sessions and we just didn't jive. So we were able to switch counselors. We found one that we liked, and she really helped us kind of understand realistically to communicate to each other, like about my son and like things like that. It really helped, and it wasn't even why we went, but it was completely free. I will tell you that I see that counselor myself now, right? Once a week for like an hour. It's free, and it's on Zoom, and I talk to her like, why? Because I can. It's free. Like, I don't necessarily have anything wrong, but it's just somebody that I can talk to about things and can give me a different view so that I'm not taking troubles or worries home. And like, if it's free, hey, like, I don't think that I'm depressed or anything like that, but shoot, we can all use somebody to talk to from time to time. So that's available out there for military service members. And mental health, we do take very seriously. And this is something that I bring up in my presentations. PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, like those things get linked to the military a lot, especially veterans, right? But the fact of the matter is that you can get PTSD. It's not just a military thing. You can get PTSD anywhere, at work, at home. It's just stress from a traumatic event, and then anxiety and depression. Like, we've heard about it and seen this all, especially over the last couple of years. Like, it's been a big issue. So, it's not just military, but it gets linked to military a lot. So do we care? Yeah, we do, because we don't want you to become a statistic and you're our family now, right? But you also hopefully have either a good leader or mentor that notices it, or you speak up. You have to speak up. You don't, if you have honest problems, like, people care, and we're going to get you the help that you need, and that goes the same for substance abuse, like whether it be alcohol or otherwise. There are, and we get training on this all the time, yearly, about ways to handle it, and who to go to, and who you can talk to, and who you can talk to confidentially, when it's not confidential, different things and avenues that you can use. But again, you have to say something. You can't wait and say something after something like drastically bad happens. Like, you drive drunk and get a DUI, and, God forbid you hit somebody or hurt somebody. And then you're like, well, I think I have a problem. Okay, well, we're going to get you the help, but you're still going to get in trouble for that action, right? So it's one of those things that we really do care about, because we don't want that statistic. And unfortunately, because it became a statistic from things in the past, I'm going to wave my hand just so the lights don't turn off, from things in the past, it just kind of gets linked to military in general, right? So we handle mental health professionally, honestly, and, just like anywhere, you might have leadership that doesn't, but I can tell you the difference is that in the Navy, every single leader and every single sailor has to go through training about it and understand it and know what the avenues are. Okay, so we do take it very, very seriously. All right, so to the other one, though, to the other part of that, how is Navy different at handling sexual assault? This is a question that I've gotten recently, and I know I get it sometimes when I'm talking to young women and their parents. There may or may not be a popular documentary that came out on Netflix. It was also 2020, which, by the way, if you watch the 2020 and the Netflix documentary, they're almost completely different and don't even cover the same stuff. So if you don't think that it was made to make money, you're out of your mind. However, does sexual assault, do those type of things happen in the military? Yes. Does it happen on a greater scale in the military than it does in the civilian world? Absolutely not. It absolutely does not. You can look up the statistics on it. Per capita, it's not even landslide close at all. Unfortunately, there are horrible people out there, and it can happen anywhere, and I would not wish it on anyone, male or female. So I think a lot of times we miss that fact as well, right? So when we talk about sexual assault, it's instantly a male got sexually assaulted a female, right? But it happens to guys too, whether, it can happen, a female to a male, male to male, but guys tend to be more, I don't want to say more prideful than women, because I'm not downplaying women at all, but it's almost like it seems like more embarrassing for a guy, so they just won't say anything, right? Got to tough it out. And that's not the case. So, I could talk about it and tell you that we also get training on this a lot. However, I wanted to give you actual things on it. And I actually pulled this up. This is off of My Navy HR. All right. So this is, anybody can see this, and it's specifically Naval Service Training Command. It is on sexual assault. And I wanted to read a few things from this for you to understand like how serious it is in the military, and how serious we do take it, regardless of what you may or may not have seen on a documentary. So first and foremost, what is sexual assault? It is intentional sexual contact characterized by the use of force, threats, intimidation, or abuse of authority, or when the victim does not or cannot consent. Sexual assault includes rape, forcible sodomy, whether it be oral or anal, and other unwanted sexual contact that is aggravated, abusive, or wrongful, including unwanted and inappropriate sexual contact, or attempts to commit these acts. All right. Now, there's also outside of assault, it's abuse, but this was the question. So here's how we handle it. And this is a site that anybody can see as well, because there's all kinds of resources for this, and anybody in the service would know of these resources because we have to take training. Like literally, we have to sign saying we've taken this training and it has to be done. So the next thing is, I've been sexually assaulted. What should I do? If you've been sexually assaulted or think you have been, go to a safe location away from the predator if you're anywhere near them. If you want to talk with someone or want assistance, you have individuals who are ready to help. Make sure you understand the difference between a restricted and unrestricted report so that those you reach out to will understand your needs and can best assist you. So there's two different forms of reporting these type of things in the military, and it becomes the victim's choice. We want it reported because we want you to get help if you need help. It can be very troubling mentally on somebody to have that happen to you when, that'll never happen to me, right? So there's a type of reporting that you can make a report, and there's going to be an investigation. There's going to be, people are going to know what's going on. And then there's restricted reporting where it's confidential. You, as the victim, are still getting help. There's still somebody for you to talk to, but there's not going to be an investigation or anything like that. Once you've made a unrestricted report, you cannot then make a restricted report. There's no taking it back. If you make a restricted report and you are getting that help, you can then decide to make it unrestricted. And again, like I said, we do take this very seriously. You may contact your local sexual assault response coordinator, we call it a SARC, victim advocate or VA, or healthcare provider. Your communication with a SARC, VA, or healthcare provider is privileged and confidential except in specific circumstances. While a chaplain cannot take a restricted report, communication with a chaplain may be privileged under the military rules of evidence or applicable statutes and regulations when they are made confidentially and as formal acts of religion or as a matter of consequence. Chaplains may not disclose a confidential or privileged communication revealed in the practice of their ministry without the individual's informed consent. And the circumstances talking about is if somebody else is in danger or endangering themselves. Okay, so understand that we take this very, very seriously. You may also contact your chain of command or law enforcement, military or civilian. However, if you contact your chain of command or law enforcement, an investigation will occur and you will not have the option of making a restricted report, as I just said. And I know that some people are probably out there thinking like, well, why wouldn't you want to do that? Whoever perpetrated this, male, female, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, they're a scumbag and they should be, dealt with. Whether I personally agree or not, I'm just telling you, like, you don't understand the circumstance of someone in the moment, and it just may not be what they want to do. But the biggest thing is that there's no fear of repercussion. That's a big thing. It's a big thing in that documentary that they were talking about. But there were people that could have been reached out to and it could have been taken care of. It's when people are like, well, you're going to get treated poorly because you're a whistleblower and you're causing trouble and it's your fault. Like, no, it is not. If you are sexually assaulted, it is never your fault. I want you to know that from me. I can tell you that is the Navy's stance on it. If the person who perpetrated it, blames it on you, that it's your fault, well, yeah, because they're trying to get out of the blame. Like, that's horrible. So there are multiple ways, and you can take it, very, very seriously. We take it very, very seriously. We have training on it every year. It's not something that we play around with. And, the perpetrator, if proven guilty, will be persecuted to the full length of the law, both civilian but also military. You're talking, getting pay docked, rank taken away, if not completely kicked out, which will not be like an honorable discharge. Like it stands a chance to be dishonorable or general, which are not good. You don't want to have to put that on a job application. Like it's not good. All right. So we take it very seriously. You're going to go to captain's mast. There's a possibility that, it'll go to different things, but I'm telling you, any commanding officer that I've ever met who's had to deal with it, like I don't want to say they don't want to deal with it, because they absolutely do. They don't want that to happen at their command. So they take it very seriously, and they're not going to brush it under the rug so that it's like, oh, it's okay. Like, no, like I'm telling you right now, everyone that I've ever met, if that type of crap happens, they are going to punish that person to the greatest extent that they possibly can to make sure that stuff doesn't happen. There's SAPR, which is sexual assault response and prevention, and there are posters and signs and things everywhere in every command with the phone numbers, with who your victim advocates are, who you can contact, how to contact them, whether it be confidential or you decide not to. We have training on it all the time. We have events, SAPR events, to raise awareness. This is something that the Navy takes very, very seriously. How do we handle it differently than other places? I don't know. I can tell you that since I didn't join until I was 26 and I worked since I was 15, there were definitely jobs I had that it wasn't even anything that was ever brought up in training or anything. You know what I mean? Like, because you would think as human beings, like it's common sense. But unfortunately it's not. And, this is the one job that I've had that, like, no joke, continual training on it. Like, they make sure you know what it is, and to what extent, like, it's going to affect you. So, if you're somebody who ever feels that you have been, there is no timeline on certain things. Like, I don't want to get into too much detail of it, but understand, like, you can reach out, and you should, and not feel like, well, it was my fault or people are going to look down on me or whatever. No. Don't let somebody hold that over you like that, because that's not right. And if anything, if that's what you feel like, I'm not a victim's advocate at all, so you cannot talk to me on a restricted standpoint. But look, you can reach out to Behind the Helm, and I will help you do what you need to do. But you talk to me, it's not confidential, so I'm just letting you know that. So, because if somebody's doing that, they don't belong in my Navy. But it doesn't have to be service member to service member. Okay, like if you're a service member and it's somebody who's not a service member and it happens, like, you still have all those things available to you, and it goes into the mental health portion of it too. You're going to get the counseling that you want and need to help you deal with a negative situation. Hopefully it just never happens to you, knock on wood. But the same thing, Military One Source is there. And so, there are all these things available, and we take it very, very, very seriously. So I know it's a very loaded question, and it was kind of long-winded, but it is something that has been coming up lately because of a certain documentary. I see Petty Officer Levex out there. He says, "I'm awake. Hello, Chief. If you missed the intro, I recorded a new welcome video." It's all right. So anyway, yes, it's very serious, and I don't want to drag on about it, but it is something that has come up lately. And yes, because that documentary did that happen to someone. Yeah, it did. And it's really sad. It's horrible. It really, really is. But that is not common, like, at all. And I think that's why it became such big news, because it wasn't common, and I mean, I congratulate that family for making it a big deal. They should have. So, understand that we take it very, very seriously in the Navy, and there are all kinds of things for you to be able to reach out and get the help that you need, both for sexual assault and also for mental health. So very loaded question. Thank you very much. Hopefully that gave you some great information. And before we move on to the next, and I think might be the final question we're going to get to. Again, you're on episode 73 of Behind the Helm. Thank you so very much. For those in the Midwest who are going to be affected by this winter storm coming in, please make sure you are being safe. If it hasn't started snowing or whatever, don't go out and be that person that buys every gallon of milk. Because, for real, what are you doing with it? But make sure that you have what you need. All right, this ain't a milk and bread run, but make sure you have things that you need. And other things to think about are your animals too. If you're somebody who has animals outdoors, consider them, consider your animals as well, and just be safe. All right, be safe out there. It hasn't really started here yet. Levesque, if you're watching, thank you. Oh man, Jon Snow. Y'all know who that is, right? That would be Staff Sergeant Hilton. Good to see you on here, man. Good to see you, Petty Officer Levesque. I believe Sergeant Hilton is out in Japan. If you're out in Japan, how's the weather over there? And Petty Officer Levesque, I don't know if you're traveling right now or if you are still in San Diego. Go ahead and put down in the comments what the temperature is there as we're getting ready to get hit by this winter storm, supposedly, so that everybody can be jealous of you. So he'll post that once he hears that. So moving on, again, be safe and, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe. Next week, I'm still going to be here. I'll be on leave. Show must go on. I'm going to have a really, really special guest. He's awesome. I know him personally, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So make sure that you tune in next week as well. Let's get on to this next question. Let's see. Where'd it go? This one comes from, Sergeant Hilton is back in Cali now. Are you in the San Diego area then? Close to Petty Officer Levesque? What's the temperature like out there, guys? Let me know. This one comes from Annapolis, Maryland. Oh, yeah, it does. Annapolis, Maryland, from Jonathan. And the question is, so you're in the Navy. Are you always out on the water? Oh, man. If I had $1 for every time I've gotten asked this question, and the recruiter who sent this to me said, drives me crazy every time I get asked that. Well, I get that, but, especially here in the Midwest, we don't see the Navy. So what we know of the Navy is what we know from history and what we know from, movies and stuff like that, and it's almost always on the water. The weird thing is if you go back and you watch some of the episodes where we've had, I had Chief Harkins on with me. He was a CB, and it's construction battalion. They don't go out on ships. He even talked about it. There are a lot of jobs in the Navy that actually do not go out on ships, and there are a lot that don't start out on ships. Hospital corpsmen can go their whole career without ever being on a ship. I know that Kim Hudson was out there. Her son, Caden, wants to travel, and he'll get the opportunity to. He's basically an intel specialist, an IS, and he is out in, I don't remember, we talked about it last week, I think Nebraska. Ooh, 29 Palms. Gross. You're in the desert. That's so gross. I remember you told me you wanted to go there, though, so I'm sure it's probably hot there. That was to Sergeant Hilton. But anyway, he's out in Nebraska. He's on an Air Force base. There's not a Navy base out there, just for the intel stuff that he's going to do. So no, we're not always out on the water. But even when you are attached to a sea command or a ship, it's not just constantly out on the water. I was on the USS Cole for 4.5 years, and pretty much half that time, we were tied up to a pier in Norfolk, Virginia. You went in the morning, you did your job, and you went home. You didn't live on the ship. We don't put the ship out every day. It's too expensive to do that. There are missions that have to be done. We do training while we're in port. And even when you go out to sea, that is when you get the opportunity to travel. That's when you're traveling. Deployment for most people, especially in the Midwest, we might know somebody who's in the Marines or the Army, and a lot of times deployment is going to one place for 9 to 12 months, and you're in that one place for that whole time. Not always, but that tends to be what people think. Deployment for the Navy is completely different. Deployment for us is on a sea command is being away from home port for 6 to 9 months, And yeah, you're out to sea, but like once a month, sometimes twice a month, you're pulling into a port in a different country, and then you're getting put on liberty where you're going out and you're getting to see the sights and meet the people and see the culture. And when you're doing that, like, you're not in uniform, you're in civilian clothes, like you're basically on vacation for a few days. So, going out to sea is when you get to see those things. Yes, so Caden, after his sea school, is going to Nebraska. He's going to be on an Air Force base for his intel stuff. So, but yeah, absolutely, it is not constant out to sea. That's not true. I mean, again, there are a lot of jobs too in the aviation side that just do not go out to sea. So it all just depends. But I will tell you that a lot of people that join the Navy join because they want to travel. And that's how you get the opportunity to travel. That's how you hear about like these port visits and things like that. Like, that is deployment. That's what we're doing. We're out, we're doing things, we're moving. Like, we're not just going to one spot in the middle of the Atlantic and just sitting there. Now, I know I had some future sailors who are sailors now who were on the ships that set the world records for being out to sea the longest. Well, that was a special situation because of COVID. They could not pull in anywhere. That is not common ever at all. But when you are out to sea for a long period of time, and it does happen from time to time, you get beer days where you get some beers while you're out to sea, which is kind of cool to be able to do. Like, I have pictures of it in one of my deployment books where we're having a beer day and we're out on the flight deck. It was a hat day, so everybody had like different hats on and stuff, and we're in our coveralls and we're smoking cigars, drinking beer on the ship. So pretty cool to get to say that you did that too. But no, we are not constantly out to sea. You're not constantly on the water, and it does depend on your job. And even if you are on a sea, I don't even know if it would be possible to just be on the water your entire career. It just doesn't happen. Okay, so I know it's a very common question that we get with the Navy. So there was one more question, and I liked it. It's a good one. It got sent to me directly. Let me pull this up real quick. All right, so the question was about our uniform, and it was about the E6 and below uniform, and it was specifically about like the cape. A lot of people call it the cape. So like on the Cracker Jacks, like the dress blues, and even the dress whites. And I'm going to show you our little watch stander. If you can see, it would be white. It's blue on here, but like the little cape that's just like short. And the question was, so, what is it? Like, why is it there? What is it for? What is the point of it? And a little bit of the history of that, like when you hear a Navy sailor say Cracker Jacks, they're talking about the service dress blues, because it's just common. Like, if you look at a Cracker Jack box, the guy on the Cracker Jack box, like, that's what he's wearing. But there is history to it. The Navy is chock full of history and tradition and things that we continue to do, even though it's not maybe necessary anymore, but we're just steeped in tradition. And there's a lot of really cool traditions and history in the Navy that dates back a long time, like even before the United States was even here, before our Navy even existed. It comes from Britain and all kinds of things. So the cape, it's actually called a tar flap, is originally what it was. So a long time ago, sailors were allowed to have long hair, and they would. It just wasn't as common to get your hair cut, and they would, to keep the hair out of their eyes and off of their brow, they would grease it back with either grease or oil or tar. They would even use tar that they used on the ship to secure their hair, like, think old school hair gel, basically, right? So what that flap was actually for was to keep that dirt and grime off the actual uniform, even though it's part of the uniform. But, I mean, that's what it was for, is tar flap. So that if that stuff, that dirt and that grime was coming out of your hair, that is what it would be for. And then, with that comes the neckerchief, which, commonly was made out of black silk, but a long time ago it could be like different colors and patterns, and it had its own uses as well. So it would be used as, we use it, and Petty Officer Levesque gave us his. It's hanging here, and we don't use it for anything except the uniform now, but there's a reason that it was made out of silk, because believe it or not, silk is extremely strong, but also they would use it as a headband. They would use it to muffle the sound of gunfire or cannon fire, to tie it around their ears. So there was a lot of history to that. We don't use it for that anymore. And, we're not allowed to have long hair as a male anymore, but that was the purpose of that cape. It was called a tar flap, and it was for when sailors who had longer hair, to keep it out of their face and their eyes and off their brow, they would slick their hair back with either tar, oil, or grease. And, if you're sweating and working, that stuff's going to come out of your hair, and it was to keep that off of your uniform. So hopefully that answered your question. Thank you very much for that. And I think that's all of the questions for now. Again, from my family to yours, from behind the helm, from everybody here, and from my Navy family and to my Navy family, and to all the other service members, have a happy holidays. Remember those who can't come home for Christmas, whether they be deployed or whether they're just not able to. Make sure you reach out to your friends. If you're in the service, make sure you text someone. Just let them know you're thinking about them. It can be a rough time of year for some. It should be a good time of year, but just remember those who aren't here. All right, so with that being said, we're going to get into some bonus content in 3, 2, 1. Bonus content. Petty Officer Levesque, if you're listening, I don't know if I can do that without you here anymore. It's weird when I count it down myself and do it. It's kind of weird. So my mom's out there and said wants to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And if you are in any of the states the storm is going to affect, please stay safe and warm, 100%. So, my wife's worried about the internet, jokingly, because I'm already getting texts and emails from Spectrum. They're already preemptively talking about service outages, which is common. And my wife was joking and freaking out. She's like, I'd rather have no heat than, because she loves it being cold anyway. I'd rather have no heat than no internet. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, what are we going to do if we don't have any internet? I'm like, I don't know. Talk to each other? But she was just kidding. So with our bonus content, we're going to be doing, in light of Christmas time, we're going to be doing a little movie tier list. Now, I will tell you that when I was trying to find a tier list, they were either really long or they were really short, or they had a bunch of crap that I just didn't want to talk about. So I've already filed some of this away. I'm going to pull it up here in a second, but I'm going to bring back up that kind of jazz Christmas music to kind of just play in the background for ambiance while we go through it. So let's see if I can get that going. Yeah. There we go. We'll turn it down a little bit, though. We don't want it to be too overpowering. We just want a little background noise. All right, so let me flip us over here and make sure I go to the right one. There we go. All right, so you see here, our categories are legendary, great, good, bad, horrible, trash, and never watched. Now, I've already moved some in here, and some of them, yes, I have seen. I didn't even feel like talking about them. Call Me Claus, The Preacher's Wife, Eloise, Noel. I forget what this one's called. Miracle on 34th Street, but the new one. So I just left that out. Planes, Trains, Automobiles, which is a great movie. Mixed Nuts, this Home Alone, get over it. Last Holiday, Unaccompanied Minors, Office, Christmas Party. I don't even know what this one is. I can't read it. And Why Him, which I've also seen, but I wanted to shorten it up, so I just moved those out of the way. All right, so here's the list. Here's what we're working with, and that's what we got to put them into. So this is my opinion, 100%. If you don't like it, tough, I guess, but by all means, please give me your opinion down below. If you're watching this later, make sure you comment down below how you think I messed it up. And I know there's going to be some unpopular opinions here, but that's okay. That's what it's about. That's what tier lists are about, right? We're going to have a little fun with it. And this is just, so that we're in the Christmas spirit. Before we go on leave, Christmas is this weekend. It's looking like it's going to be a white Christmas for a lot of people. So let's go. All right, so first and foremost, we got a Christmas Carol. This is the Jim Carrey version, the animated version where Jim Carrey voices Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, the Christmas Carol has been redone multiple times. There is there's a Mickey Mouse version. Multiple times. And in fact, in the Muppets, there's the Muppets Christmas Carols down here. Big Jim Carrey fan. And when it's him, like, you can definitely hear that it's Jim Carrey. And it's good. It's really good. I think that it's a very good movie, but I just feel like it's been overdone and it's been redone so many times that, this has to go in good. I don't think that it's great or legendary. It's overdone. It's been done too many times. Now, there's going to be some unpopular opinions on this one, but I will tell you that the next one, A Christmas Story, is legendary. And if it's not for you, tough. It should be. There's a reason that it plays for 24 hours every year, because it is a legendary Christmas movie. It is amazing. It does take place in Indiana, but actually the house is in Cleveland, Ohio, where it was filmed. And it's a great movie. It's older time, but it's still like the heart of Christmas and what it is to be a kid, Christmas time. It's a great movie. Fight me. All right, next. What do we got? Oh, A Charlie Brown Christmas. This is one, I think even as an adult, it's good. It's really good, with the little Christmas tree, and Linus taking care of it, saying it needs some love, and the music in it is just, it's really good. It's great, kids, adults. It really speaks to the Christmas spirit and what it's about, and I think it's a great movie. I wouldn't say legendary, it's definitely great, and I have no problem saying that. All right. This one, Arthur Christmas. Never seen it. Never watched it. Don't know what it is. Bad Santa. Oh, Bad Santa. Bad Santa is hilarious. It is. If you haven't seen it, don't. This is not a Christmas movie to watch with your kids. Billy Bob Thornton is basically plays a Santa, and he's a thief, and they rob stuff, and it's vulgar, but it's hilarious. It's really funny, and then it has like touchy, like kind of feely Christmas vibes, learn a lesson type stuff in it. It's really good. As a Christmas movie, I don't know that I would say, as a Christmas movie, I'm gonna have to say it's bad. In all honesty, and I think it's hilarious. It's not like, hey, like, we're gonna get the family together and watch Christmas movies. Let's watch Bad Santa. Like, no, don't do that. But it is a funny movie. Another unpopular opinion, Die Hard. People will argue whether it is or is not a Christmas movie, and the consensus in the world is that it is, in fact, a Christmas movie. All right, so we can say it's a Christmas movie, but the question is it a good Christmas movie? If you understand what I'm saying, like, again, is it a Christmas movie that you're gonna like, let's get the family together and watch Christmas movies, put in Die Hard? Yes, there are probably those families out there that do that. Thank you, Mr. Dunnick. Mr. Dunnick said A Christmas Story equals the GOAT, greatest of all time Christmas movies. I agree. So Die Hard, is it a Christmas movie? Yes, I will concede to you that it is a Christmas movie. But it's a bad Christmas movie, in my opinion. Personal opinion. Fight me. Don't care. I'm not going to say it's horrible. It's bad. It's not good. Elf. I know there are a lot of people that don't like Will Ferrell or like his acting, and I will tell you that I think Elf is absolutely great. For me, Elf is actually a legendary Christmas movie. A lot of people don't know who Bob Newhart is. And that's who plays Papa Elf. Zooey Deschanel is in it. Like, it's a really good Christmas movie. It is a great Christmas movie. And then just the fact that he's, Will Ferrell's actually a very big human being. He's tall. Thinking he's an elf. It's really funny. It has, very touching moments in it. You're going to get a good laugh. Your kids, it's not a cartoon. Your kids are still going to laugh about it. There's still like kind of adult content that, a kid could still watch and not really understand. It's good. I think it's a legendary Christmas movie, in my opinion. All right. 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn and, what is her name? Reese Witherspoon. 4 Christmases is a Christmas movie. It's definitely, they're going to, both of them come from split parents, so they got to go to mom and dad on each side. There are funny parts in it. Vince Vaughn's family in it is hilarious. Again, it's okay. I would not go out and say it's like a great Christmas movie at all. It's good though. I would say it's good. It's all right. It's good to watch. Check it out if you haven't watched it. Frosty the Snowman, the original animated one. Look, this is great. You probably remember as a kid. If you go back and watch it now, you might not like appreciate it as much, but I guarantee your kids will. This is one of those. Hard to say legendary. The story of Frosty is legendary. Hard to say legendary, but I definitely give it a great. I think that Frosty the Snowman belongs in that great category. So, might not be a popular opinion. Gremlins. It's another one. Is it a Christmas movie? Yeah. I mean, it takes place during Christmas. He gets the Mogwai for Christmas. It is a Christmas movie. If you've never watched Gremlins, it's a pretty good movie. It's all right. It's definitely 80s. Is it a good Christmas movie, though? No. I don't think so. And in fact, because of the type of movie that what it is, I would have to say it's a bad Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie. And and all 3 of these that are in bad, I will tell you, are good movies, but not great Christmas movies. All right. Home Alone, the first one. Oh my gosh. Look, this might be an unpopular opinion as well, but this is a legendary Christmas movie. And it could just be me, the fact that I can watch this. Everybody knows scenes from this movie. My family on Christmas Eve, we used to watch it. My parents, like my dad, we would watch. There are two movies that we would watch, and it would be this and the claymation Rudolph, and Home Alone is just great. I think it's a legendary Christmas movie that belongs up there. I really do. Now, when you go to Home Alone 2, where he is alone in New York, he goes to New York, I actually think that Home Alone 2 has some better messages in it, like with the turtle doves and the pigeon lady and the guy who owns Duncan's toy store, really good. But I think it's one of those things that it's not quite as good as the original, but it's still good. I think that Home Alone 2 is still very good, but I think it would belong in great. It's very good. Next, the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas. We're talking about the cartoon version of it. It is one of those. You'd have to go back and rewatch it. I don't want to say legendary. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's great. It's good. It's good. Some people might think it belongs up higher than that. I really don't, but it is good. And the next one is The Grinch with Jim Carrey, the live version, which is hilarious. It's Jim Carrey. there are great one-liners in it. They do a good job with making Dr. Seuss real. The other one that they did was Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers. And I love Mike Myers, but in my opinion, it just wasn't the Cat in the Hat that you would think. And this Grinch movie is very good. I think it's better than the cartoon. I think that they did a great job with it. I think it's really good, and it's a great Christmas movie. I really do. It's good. Next, It's a Wonderful Life. If you've never watched It's a Wonderful Life, you should. It's a classic Christmas movie. There go the lights. Gonna get blinded again. It is a classic Christmas movie. It is my mother's absolute favorite Christmas movie, and it is legendary. It's because of the messages that are in it and what it is, and you just gotta watch it. If you've never watched it, sit down and watch it. It's a great Christmas movie. It's definitely in the legendary tier. It's just one of those timeless Christmas movies, and it belongs there. All right, so next, Jingle All the Way. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger. His son is into a superhero called Turbo Man, and Sinbad is in it, and it's, oh my gosh, this movie's hilarious. Like, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, first off, so like his accent, like, it's funny. It's really good. It's a pretty decent movie. It has some good messages in it too. I wouldn't say legendary. I really like the movie. I wouldn't even say necessarily great, but it is a very, very good Christmas movie. I don't think it belongs like with The Grinch and Home Alone 2 and Frosty, but it's a very good Christmas movie. If you've never had the opportunity to watch it, you should. It's pretty good. Miracle on 34th Street. I personally was never a fan. It's one of those that, because of what it is, a lot of people are going to say it belongs in the legendary tier. I don't personally, whether you like that opinion or not. Sorry. It's great. I don't think it's legendary. There'd be people who argue that, but it's one of those things that, like, a long time ago, there were only a few Christmas movies, and it was one of them, and then that's why they remade it, and I put it down here because I just didn't want to talk about it. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm sorry, there might be some people who disagree, but this is absolutely 100% a legendary Christmas movie. Clark Griswold just wants to have a big family Christmas. It's important to him. Beverly D'Angelo is great as the mom. Every National Lampoon's movie, it's Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo as the parents. The kids actually are different in every single movie, and I love every one of these movies. The original Vacation, Vegas Vacation when I was younger was one of my favorites, but I will tell you, and then today, oddly enough, while I was doing some work and doing some admin type work, I had playing European Vacation right now is on Netflix, which it's great too. But Christmas Vacation is probably one of my most favorite ones. It's great. It's just wonderful. Like, definitely watch it if you never have. It's also very like 80s. So like some of the stuff that they could get away with saying and doing are like, oh man, you couldn't do that in a movie now. Dang, stupid light. So I think it belongs in the legendary category. That's where it goes. All right, Polar Express. Look, especially for kids, the message is Tom Hanks, legendary movie. I personally, but it's one of those that like kids just gravitate towards, and it belongs there. It just really, really does. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation, legendary, absolutely legendary. It is great with Hermie and just Yukon Cornelius, the Island of Misfit Toys. It is one of those that you just got to sit and watch with your kids. It's a great movie, and it's legendary. It's, there's different cartoons and stuff that have done Rudolph, and nothing ever plays up to that, to the claymation. Bill Murray, Scrooge. So what is Scrooge? We said it before with the Christmas Carol. Scrooged is an adaptation of A Christmas Carol, but with Bill Murray as a executive who overworks people and is ridiculous and whatever. It's a Bill Murray movie. It's good. It's really funny. It's Bill Murray. But again, it's Christmas Carol, just like redone, you know? So in my opinion, it's a good Christmas movie. I love it. I can sit and watch it, but you know, it's just, again, overdone. This one here, I believe, is again Christmas Carol. It's the live action one. I don't know the actual title. You can't see it. It's kind of cut off, but it's a Christmas Carol. And I'm just going to put it in good. Like, it's the same story, but redone. It's like, there's no change in it. Now, I will say the Muppets Christmas Carol is one of my favorite ones because it's the Muppets. So it's a good one, like, you can watch with your kids, and like, they don't make it too scary like the ghosts and things like that, because it's the old guys from the Muppets, so they kind of say and do like funny stuff. And Ebenezer Scrooge is actually not a Muppet. It's really good, again, but just so overdone. I think because it's been done so much, it just has to go in good. But it is very good. And if you want to watch A Christmas Carol, because even the one with Jim Carrey, it's a little, you know, can be a little dark or kind of scary for kids, the Muppet one is good for that. Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie, is a Halloween movie. What is it? It's a Christmas movie. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. Danny Elfman does the music for this. I absolutely love the music from A Nightmare Before Christmas. And, you know, I know Petty Officer Levesque was talking about how his daughter at a young age had really like gravitated towards it. My son there for a while, you know, really gravitated towards A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's great, and it's unique. It's a unique story that's never been done any other way. I think just the music alone, there might be some people that give me a lot of crap on this, but I think it's a legendary Christmas movie. Watch it if you haven't. I don't know. Like, that's just my opinion. So, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, the original, the first one. This is another like very unique storyline that they then, which it's going to come up later, which they then ran into the ground, and now they have a series, The Santa Clauses, which we started watching, and it's like and it is Tim Allen. This movie itself, I think, is a legendary Christmas movie. Not the series, that movie, The Santa Claus, is great. It's a good one to watch. Trading Places, is it a Christmas movie? Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, yes. Is it a good Christmas movie? Like, no. Like, that's just my opinion. Some might disagree, but I think it's got to go right here in the bad with these, because it's just not. It's not what I think of when I think of Christmas movie. Charlie Brown Christmas. Didn't we already do that? Oh, it's on here twice. Well, we're gonna put that, I guess, up here with the other one. I don't know why it's on there twice. Didn't notice that. All right, next, Christmas with the Cranks. Me and my wife just watched this recently. Yeah, I did. My mom actually said, did you know in Polar Express Tom Hanks played all those characters? It's true. Christmas with the Cranks, again, Tim Allen, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dan Aykroyd's in it. It's actually really, really good. If you haven't watched it, you should. It has great messages in it as well. The end of it's really good. It has very funny parts in it. It's awesome. It's a great movie. I wouldn't say legendary. I would put it in great. It is a great Christmas movie. I mean, it's Tim Allen, and Jamie Lee Curtis is great in it as well. Now, once we start talking about the Santa Claus, there's the Santa Claus 2. Even down here, there's Santa Claus 3, which is like with Jack Frost. Like, again, like, let's just like start just driving this into the ground to make money. Like, that's what it became. I think it's the same thing with the other Grinch that's coming up. The second one was okay, but like it doesn't hold a candle to the first one. I would say honestly the second one is good. And we're gonna go ahead and grab the third one, and I'm just gonna tell you it's trash. Like, yeah, like it's Martin Short and Tim Allen, and it's again like it's Disney driving stuff into the ground. If I see the third one, I'm not even gonna watch it. Like, I don't even care. It's ridiculous. Let's just keep ruining things. 8 Crazy Nights, which is Adam Sandler, is animated, more Hanukkah like Christmas movie. It's funny. It's Adam Sandler. You either like Adam Sandler or you hate Adam Sandler, and that tends to be where people are with it. I would say it's good. It's good. It's not great. It's not legendary. I don't necessarily think it's bad. It is a Christmas movie. Oh man, Ernest Saves Christmas. So when I was a kid, the Ernest movies. You want to talk about the original, like, let's just keep making movies and driving it into the ground. That would be Ernest. There are so many Ernest movies out there. I don't even know like the total number. Like, there's a lot. Ernest is just kind of wacky and kind of goofy, and like, does it really hold up anymore? No. Like, and I honestly believe like just Ernest for a Christmas movie, is my opinion. This is a Christmas movie that I will say is just quite honestly horrible. Okay, it's not good. So yeah. The next one is Fred Claus. Fred Claus is great. It's Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is Fred Claus, Nick Claus's brother. Like the very unique storyline. It's Vince Vaughn. It's good. I really like it. I wouldn't say it's legendary. I wouldn't say it's great. It is a good Christmas movie. You should definitely check it out if you never watched it. Fred Claus is good. Do like it. Some people don't. The new Grinch, the new animated one, there are a lot of kids that like it. It was like reintroducing the Grinch to kids. I'll just be honest. I've watched it. And, yeah, it's good. But again, it's like, let's take something that's already been done and let's do it again. Like, let's go ahead and do it again. Let's make money. And that's what it was. So, just my opinion. Home Alone 3. Okay, the next Home Alone that I put up here and never watched, it's just, again, driving into the ground. Home Alone 1 and 2 is Macaulay Culkin. It's the same family. It's the, same premise. Home Alone 3, different family, different kid, different storyline. And it's not just like robbers, it's like terrorists. Like, it's good. Like, my brother watched it when he was younger. He used to really like it. It's okay. But again, it's just like, it's kind of ridiculous. It's funny though. I would tell you it's good. Like, you can watch with your family, but it's just not for me. I wouldn't say it's great. Jack Frost. Jack Frost is a very touching Christmas movie if you've never seen it. I wouldn't personally say that it's great. It's kind of sad. It's a good Christmas movie. It's not one that I like really want to like watch. It's kind of like an adaptation of Frosty to an extent. Like, you just have to watch to understand it. Just Friends. Just Friends is technically a Christmas movie. Ryan Reynolds was really fat in high school, and I always forget this girl's name, but like best friends or whatever, and then he loses all his weight, becomes hot, and it's weird, and I don't know, like it's one of those that I think like is not like, hey, like this, I think it goes in the bad with these. Like, it's a Christmas movie, sure, you can categorize it as that, but it's not one that I'm like, yeah, let's watch that as a Christmas movie. Next one, Grandmother's House We Go. This is, if you can't tell, it's Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. When they were younger, after Full House, this is when I was young, there were a lot of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movies, like both of them at the same time. There were a lot of them that came out, and again, it was one of those things that like they just kind of took it and drove it into the ground and just kept producing them. Like, a lot of it, like, it's like they came out in theaters, like it was like straight to, like, at the time, VHS. and this was just that. It is a Christmas movie, 100%. I don't know. Quite honestly, it's not great. It's horrible. It's just another one of those ones that's like drive it into the ground. So, a Madea Christmas. Oh, Tyler Perry. So, Madea is another thing where there's just a ton of movies. And unpopular opinion. It shows a different culture of Christmas, and it is what it is. But if you want to say that, then you might as well say that Friday After Next, which is not on this list, is also a Christmas movie, 100%. And that's not on here. I've seen it. Like, there are funny parts in it, but it's just a Madea movie. It's horrible. Like, it's just not. Again, just like taking something, we're just gonna keep driving it into the ground. This one right here, it's Christmas Chronicles. I will tell you, I didn't watch it last year. I still haven't watched it. I've heard it's really good, so I have to put it down here because I don't want to judge it and be wrong. So yeah. Next is the Rudolph the cartoon version. And actually that looks like the claymation version too, because it has the Abominable Snowman and everything. I think they just put it in here twice. It's just a different cover on it. So I mean, that goes right there. Because that looks like the claymation. I think it's the same. They just, whoever made this, if it's the cartoon version, I don't think it's as good as the claymation one. I just think the claymation one's really good. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. The story of Santa Claus has the Burgermeister Meisterburger in it. I showed this to my son when he was young. We call him Logameister Meisterburger. I mess with him all the time. This is a great movie. I think it's another legendary one, just because of it gives like a different like view of the story of how Santa Claus came to be, and it's really good. Dick Van Dyke is the postman in the beginning of it. He voices it. It's really, really good. You can watch it as an adult. It's still good. It's just one of those legendary Christmas movies. Santa Buddies. Oh, man. Santa Buddies is one of those ones that it's another franchise that they just took and ran into the ground. It started with Air Bud, which was a really good movie, and then there was a football one, and then there were puppies, and there's been a whole bunch of different ones. Like, it's cute, it's whatever. Kids probably really like it, but it's dumb. Like, I just, it's like, it's just horrible. Like, it's, in fact, I think it's trash. Maybe an unpopular opinion. So, man. So, I don't know if you know who this is. That's Hulk Hogan. This 22-inch pythons, brother. And this is Santa. What is the name of the movie? It's like Santa with muscles or something like that. Santa Gets Muscles or whatever. Yeah, it's exactly what you would think it is. It's horrible. All I can tell you is to go watch it. It's a horrible Christmas. It's just horrible. SpongeBob's Christmas has a good message. Kids love SpongeBob. A lot of parents find it absolutely annoying. I know my wife finds SpongeBob annoying. My son loves SpongeBob. Some of the stuff is funny. But, like, am I going to sit down and watch, like, the SpongeBob Christmas special? No. Like, no. I don't even think that it's good. Like, no, it's horrible. There'd be some kids that would disagree with that. The Night Before. Oh, man. Me and my wife actually just watched this the other night. And if you haven't seen it, it's really funny. Some stuff in it's outrageous. It's not a family movie. There's definitely a lot of drugs and alcohol. And, I mean, Seth Rogen. Okay? But I will tell you that it does have a really good message in it. And it's really good. It's funny. it is definitely 100% of Christmas. It's literally about Christmas. And it's good for a good laugh. It's a good movie, and it has a really good message at the end of it, but it's Seth Rogen. So 'Twas the Night. I've never seen it. So yeah, that's it. So again, some of these in the never seen are ones that I had, just didn't feel like talking about them. I think they belong. But yeah, let's look at this. Legendary: Christmas Story, Elf, Home Alone, the original first one, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, It's a Wonderful Life, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, The Polar Express, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's here twice, it's the claymation one, The Santa Claus #1, Nightmare Before Christmas. In the great category, Charlie Brown Christmas, Frosty the Snowman, Home Alone 2, The Grinch, the Jim Carrey version, Miracle on 34th Street, Charlie Brown Christmas was down there twice for some reason, and Christmas with the Cranks. In the good category, Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, again, it's just because it's so redone. I think there's 4 of them in here. So there's that one, then there's Scrooged, then there's this one, then there's the Muppets one. It's all the same story. 4 Christmases, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, again, the original, the Jim Carrey one's better, and then they redid it. Let's Just Make Money. Home Alone 3, the Santa Claus 2, which is still okay. 8 Crazy Nights, Fred Claus, Jack Frost, and The Night Before. Bad. These are movies that, yes, they are Christmas movies, but to me, they're not movies that you're like, oh, let's watch a Christmas movie, and this is what you choose. Bad Santa, absolutely hilarious. Die Hard, Just Friends, Trading Places, and Gremlins. And then Christmas movies that are, in fact, like, Christmas movies that I just think are absolutely horrible would be Ernest. And, like, honestly, like, Ernest is trash. Like, that goes in the trash. Grandmother's House We Go, Mary-Kate and Ashley, Medea's Christmas, Santa with Muscles or whatever is so horrible. And then SpongeBob Christmas. And in trash, Santa Claus 3. Yeah, because, again, let's just run it into the ground. Ernest Saves Christmas and Santa Buddies. And then, again, there's some down here that I've never watched and other ones that, like, just didn't even want to talk about. So that's going to be it for today. Welcome into Behind the Helm's new view. And believe it or not, it's actually quite good. You can't see it, but I have a TV up here where it's playing and I can check stuff and see how it's going. And there's a big whiteboard over here. I actually wrote notes so I didn't forget things. And yeah, I think this is going to work out. We haven't had any internet issues. We're hardlined, so much better. So again, everybody, happy holidays, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is for you, have a happy holidays. Stay safe with the storm that's coming in if you're going to be affected by that. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the comments for those who chimed in. Some people I haven't seen in a while. Thank you very much. Again, we will be live next week still with a very special guest. We're going to have some fun, so make sure you tune in. But 100% everybody, thank you so very, very much for being here, for listening in, and enjoy the weekend. Make sure you reach out and text someone if you know somebody who's not home for Christmas or doesn't have anybody to come home to on Christmas. Make sure, service members, you reach out and text someone. Don't leave anybody behind. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a good one.